Imagine your mind as a wild, untended garden. It's full of vigorous, sometimes beautiful, but often thorny and poisonous growth. Thoughts are not gentle breezes. They are a constant, torrential downpour. They are judgments about the past, anxieties about the future, to-do lists, fleeting desires, and the echoes of every interaction you've ever had. We spend our lives swept up in this internal storm, completely identified with every single thought that crosses our consciousness. We don't have thoughts. We are our thoughts. This state is the source of all suffering. We are perpetually running from a moment that already is and rushing toward a moment that hasn't happened yet. It's an exhausting, high-friction way to live. This internal chaos manifests externally as stress, reactivity, poor sleep, fractured relationships, and the persistent nagging feeling that we're missing the real thing, that life is happening over there while we're stuck in here. We seek fixes in external pleasures, new possessions, exciting experiences, endless entertainment. But these are like putting a tiny bandage on a massive internal wound. The underlying system of internal turmoil remains untouched. Meditation is not about stopping your thoughts. That's a common misconception and a guarantee of failure. Instead, it is the radical act of changing your relationship to your thoughts. When you sit to meditate, you are essentially creating a laboratory for consciousness. You bring your attention to a simple anchor, the feeling of your breath, the sensation of your body on the cushion. Inevitably, the storm of thoughts will erupt. The game of meditation is simple. Notice the thought, acknowledge it without judgment, and gently return your attention to the anchor. This repeated, subtle movement, the noticing and the returning, is where the real revolution begins. With every return, you are flexing a profoundly powerful mental muscle, discernment. You are learning experientially that you are not the thought. You are the awareness that notices the thought. The thought is an event happening in consciousness, not the essence of consciousness. This is the first monumental change, the creation of a space of freedom between stimulus and response. Before meditation, a frustrating email, stimulus, immediately triggered anger, response. Now you notice the email, you notice the wave of anger rising, and because of that cultivated space, you have a choice. You don't have to launch the immediate, retaliatory response. You can breathe, assess, and act intentionally. The ripple effect, how everything changes. This tiny, internal shift has massive, far-reaching consequences. 1. The death of the internal critic. The voice of the internal critic, the incessant self-judger, loses its authority. When you learn to observe thoughts without judgment, you stop judging the thought, "I am a failure." It becomes just another passing mental event, not a definitive statement about reality. The internal landscape becomes less hostile, and self-compassion becomes the default setting. 2. Deepening the experience of the present. The endless cycle of rumination, past and anxiety, future, begins to slow. Your attention, no longer hijacked by narratives, becomes available for the present moment. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, the taste of coffee, the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter. This isn't just about feeling calm. It's about reclaiming the fullness of your life, which exists only now. 3. Transformation in relationships. Since you've learned to sit with your own discomfort, you become infinitely better at sitting with the discomfort of others. You listen differently, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but truly hearing what the other person is saying, undistracted by the commentary running in your own head. Empathy flourishes because you can see the other person's thoughts and feelings as passing events, just like your own, creating a profound sense of shared humanity. Reactivity gives way to patience. 4. Unleashing true creativity and focus. When the mind is not spending all its energy fighting itself, a tremendous amount of cognitive bandwidth is freed up. Focus sharpens. Solutions to long-standing problems surface effortlessly. This isn't some mystical power. It's simply the sound of a quieted internal engine. True creativity isn't a frenzy. It's a deep, calm listening to what wants to emerge. Meditation doesn't turn you into a placid, emotionless monk. It makes you fully, vividly human. It allows you to feel the full spectrum of emotions: joy, sadness, fear, wonder, but it fundamentally alters the way you relate to them. They become visitors you greet at the door, rather than tyrants who take over your house. Meditation changes everything, because it doesn't try to change your life. It changes you, the observer of your life. It is the practice of waking up from the lifelong dream of thought and stepping into the clear, vibrant, and utterly real moment that is always beautifully here. It is the deepest form of self-care and the most profound form of freedom.